What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another video. I'm very excited to talk about today's video. I saw this post from Sportsnet this morning and it made me really want to talk about it. So what I'm going to do is pretty much dissect this post that Sportsnet put up and I'll give you guys my opinions about it. As always though, if you guys are new to the channel, it means a lot if you guys subscribed, like the video if you enjoyed. We're on the road to 1K. This channel's been growing amazingly fast and I thank you guys so much for that. It means so much to me, and yeah, let's get going. So I got the photo on the screen here, and Sportsnet's pretty much talking about which team has been most disappointing between the Montreal Canadiens, the Vancouver Canucks, and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now when I saw this, I immediately had an opinion and a thought that I thought like this is the easiest post of all time. And well, the more I thought about it, the harder it kind of was to determine which team. But I know which team for sure is not deserving on this list, and let's talk about that team first. That's the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now the Pittsburgh Penguins are 5-6-4 right now, only one game below 500, and for a team that hasn't had Crosby the whole season, hasn't had Malkin, I don't even think they got Chris Letang, they don't have a starting goaltender. Like, in my opinion, Jari or Smith are not starting goaltenders, so they don't have a starting goalie. I think they are where they should be, and honestly, I think it could be significantly worse considering they haven't had Crosby the whole season and they don't have Malkin. Like, their record, honestly, it being what it is right now and the hot start that they had at the very beginning, beating Tampa and whatnot, it could be much worse for Pittsburgh. I do not think they are a team that deserves to be on this list for having a rocky start. Not only that, they're in a very tough division. Like, that division, I think other than them, every team is above 500. So it's a tough division. You put them in the Pacific and they're fighting for that wild card spot. Like, they probably are in a wild card spot. So I don't like that Pittsburgh's on this list. So we're not going to talk about them. It's obviously not them. Now the next team let's talk about is the Montreal Canadiens. Now their record's 4-12-2, which is just terrible. The worst record out of the three teams on this list. Now, obviously, this is a very, very disappointing start and season so far for the Montreal Canadiens, but there's a few things you got to think about. They are without Carey Price, their number one goalie, the goalie who arguably carries them to victories, carried them in the playoffs, and just allows them to be that team that can pretty much, they try to score their way out of problems, and they can score a few goals, and then Carey Price just seals the deal on the back end there, and there's just no, like, that's how they win. They need Carey Price to be that shutdown guy, and he hasn't been there. So they haven't been getting the goaltending they're used to. As well as, I think the Montreal Canadiens overachieved last year. They barely made the playoffs, like the furthest away from making the playoffs out of any team that did. And personally, I think making the finals is probably one of the worst things that could have happened to that team. It gave them the same thing that it gave Vancouver when they went to the playoffs and lost to Vegas in the second round. That was like the bubble year, as it gives them false hope. Like, I think their GM now thinks they are that team that can compete, or at least he might have. And all the fans saw that and are like, this team's going to be so good next year. They showed who they really are. But in reality, I think they just overachieved. And it almost would have been better for them in their future if they didn't make the playoffs or even got knocked out first. They would have got a better draft pick. I did not see the Montreal Canadiens making the playoffs this year. So to them being out of a playoff race is not surprising to me. Them being as bad as they currently are, though, is a bit surprising to me. I did not expect them to be this bad. Although, like I said, I did expect them to be bad, not this bad. I could see them hovering, or I thought I could see them hovering around 500, maybe at most 5 games below, just not what they're doing right now. So yes, it is a bit of a shock to me. Next team I want to talk about are the Vancouver Canucks, who are 5-9-2. You guys know the Canucks are my favorite team, so I could talk about this terrible season for forever because it hurts me to my core, and I got lots to say. But let's dumb it down a little bit. Canucks were a team that people kind of thought going into the season that they were going to be a playoff team. They were that team, and they improved over the offseason. I still think on paper they improved over the offseason. But nobody thought they were going to be as bad as they currently are, and lacking in a lot of areas that they currently are, which is surprising. Their penalty kill is last in the league. Their power play is 25th in the league. For the amount of skill and young talent this team has, they should not be struggling to score goals. The Canucks over the past 2 seasons have been that team that's terrible on defense, but when they win, they outscore their way out of their terrible defense problems. Like, they let in 4 goals, but they score 5 or 6, so they make it through. But right now, that's not happening. This team's also the opposite of what they normally are. Their defense has actually been pretty solid, other than the past couple games where they let in 7 goals. But before that, when they were losing on their homestand, they were losing 1-goal games, and their defense was holding it back to at most 3 goals. They were losing 3-2 games, 3-1 games, 2-1 games, and it's like, that's what they want from their defense, and they're just not getting it from their offense. They're not getting what they should get from their offense, and that is what's hurting this team a lot. People predicted this team to be in the playoffs. I predicted this team to be high in the Pacific. I think I said second at the beginning of the season, and yes, it was the fan in me talking, but damn, I did not expect them to be this bad. I thought maybe second's a bit of a stretch, but I'm going to say it, but I 100% was confident they were going to get third at least, and it's not even looking like that is the case. I do personally think the Vancouver Canucks are the most disappointing team out of the 3 that are listed there. I'm kind of talking about that as a fan, a little biased, but also just from expectations. I think the Vancouver Canucks personally had higher expectations than the Montreal Canadiens. That's just my opinion. On paper, I think the Canucks have better offense and just are an all-around better team. They got better goaltending right now without Carey Price. Carey Price is a stud, but Demko has been a stud too. So I just think the Canucks not being able to score goals, the way the team has been playing lately, it leads them into being, in my opinion, one of the most disappointing teams of the whole entire season. Probably the most disappointing team in the season, especially the most disappointing in the 3 listed. But thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below your guys' opinions. All opinions are welcome. There's no wrong opinion. I'm giving you guys mine. Let me know yours. I'm always interested and always down to have conversations in the comments. As always, if you guys are new to the channel, let me know if you guys subscribed, like the video if you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.